comrades, this is Shady here, and as you guys can tell by the title, inside today's video, I'm here with my first film discussion, and pretty much with this series, I want to cover some topics for a film that I usually want to cover during a review, and for this first film discussion, I'm going to be talking about Hellboy, so let's get right into that. So one of the things that I really liked about the film was the opening scene. Inside this scene, we get to see Hellboy fighting vampires, and to be honest, this is probably my favorite scene of the whole film. I think the design of the vampires looks great, the action was great, and part of me really wishes that vampires were actually like a reoccurring element inside this film. I would really like this film to be about Hellboy fighting vampires. I think it was kind of cool to see Hellboy fighting monsters from hell, but I feel like this could have worked better. I also did think David Harbour, was really good as Hellboy. Some people were saying he wasn't that good, but I found his performance to be pretty good. I just feel like the main issue with his performance is the script, and that's really not his fault. I feel like with what he was given, he did a really good job. I just feel like he really wasn't given enough to do. I also do have to touch on the CGI a little bit. I did see some people complaining, but I thought for the most part, the special effects were pretty top-notch, especially considering the pretty low budget, and the ratings for this film are completely false. I can kind of understand someone maybe disliking the film, maybe a 5 out of 10, but a 12 out of 100, I believe that's the rating on Rotten Tomatoes right now. That is just completely false, and if you guys did not see my video where I talked about Hellboy bombing at box office, go check that out. I also did think the acting, for the most part, was not that great. Most of the performances were kind of cheesy, but like I said, I did think David Harbour was easily the best part of the film, in his performance, but some of the other main actors, their performances were not that great. The action, for the most part, was pretty good. I would have liked to see a little bit more action, like I said, but I think whenever it was there, it was really good, but I really just wanted to see Hellboy beating up guys with his right hand, and we don't get to see that inside the film. For most of it, he's sort of just shooting a gun, and that's the thing that Hellboy is really known for, especially inside the original films, like his strong right hand that he can just beat anybody up with, and we really don't get to see that inside this film. And honestly, guys, I would definitely want to see a sequel for this film, but I don't picture it happening because this film is bombing at box office right now, and if it was up to me to decide what to do with this sequel, I would definitely want to see him go the approach with Hellboy fighting vampires, with also the Ape Sapien, which, by the way, I did think the Ape Sapien thing at the end of the film was pretty cool to see, although I would have liked that to be in a post-credit scene, sort of to set up a future film. Back to what I was saying about the sequel, I don't see a sequel happening in this film, but I guarantee you in the next 15 to 30 years, there's going to be a Hellboy reboot, because Hollywood just reboots everything, and honestly, guys, I would want to see a sequel to this film, obviously. I don't know if it's been released in China. I don't think it has, and China's been known to save some films from bombing at box office, mainly the Transformers films, so I do hope this does very well in China, but the thing is, Avengers Endgame is out right now, so that kind of sucks for this film. It's probably not going to do too well in box office, even if it is released in China, because everyone's going to see Avengers Endgame, and that's whenever it's doing best right now. Avengers Endgame is doing great in China. It's already made like $600 million over there, and as a whole, guys, I really enjoyed this film. It's probably one of my favorite films of the year so far. I don't think it's as good as the original. I may make a video comparing the two, so definitely stay tuned for that, which, by the way, I did make a recent film comparison talking about Shazam and Captain Marvel, so go check that out after you watch this. But as a whole, guys, I really enjoyed the film. I definitely recommend checking it out. The special effects, for the most part, are good. Performances are alright. I don't think you really come to a film like this, though, to see the performances. You come to just have fun, and it's overall a really entertaining film. I feel like this really did benefit from the R rating. I feel like they should have done a little bit more. We really only get to see some gore and some swearing, and I also didn't love that some of the really cool moments inside the trailer with like Hellboy riding the dragon and some other stuff like that, the sword, his horns, were just like dream sequences inside one scene. I also did notice inside some parts of the film, like there's one scene in particular whenever they have to go visit Merlin the Wizard, and then inside the next scene they show like them visiting Merlin the Wizard, but how did they find out where he was? It shows him like entering a cave with like a water behind them, like the ocean, so they must have like walked that way, and they didn't even show what happened. There's cuts like that inside the film which do kind of bother me a little bit, but I feel like if you're not really paying attention, it won't really matter. And guys, like I said, I overall really enjoyed this film. I would definitely recommend checking it out if you haven't done so already. That's the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Comment down below if you guys do want to see more of this. Subscribe to become part today. Drop a like on this video, turn on the post notification bell. Go check out my last video, and I'll see you guys in my next one. This is Chase on off. Peace out.